Happy Friday, Miami. This is Buy, Sell, Hold Miami, a real estate podcast by locals discussing with a little bit of edge what's going on in the South Florida real estate market. I'm Peter Zalewski. I'm a condo consultant, expert witness, also the founder of Miami Condo Investing Club. And I'm here with my partner, my co-host, the moderator, no one else but Daniel Hernandez. He's a real estate advisor over at Compass Real Estate. His office is in Coconut Grove. He does single-family houses as well as condos. What's going on, Daniel?
What's up, Friday? Happy Peter. Merry Christmas. Can we say Merry Christmas? Happy holidays. Happy holidays. Let's stick with happy holidays.
Happy Christmas.
Happy Christmas. Oh, we're British. We're British. Probably shouldn't use that accent. That's cultural appropriation for anybody watching at home. So, guys, this is Buy, Sell, Hold Miami, episode number 31. We got 2 of these left in the new year, in the old year. If you're just joining us for the first time today, Buy, Sell, Hold Miami, as Peter mentioned, South Florida real estate talk show. Now, there is just so much to discuss in terms of real estate. We talk policy, we talk environment, we talk education. If you were with us last week, that was a great show. Josh, how great is Josh?
Yeah, Josh was exceptional. Anybody who didn't see it, I'd highly recommend you go ahead and you take a look at it. He gave you all kinds of insight as to students, schools, but more importantly, real estate in and around, and where to possibly invest your money if, in fact, you don't have kids, but maybe you want to rent out to maybe some newcomers who are looking to live close to where their kids go to school.
Yeah, shameless plug for Josh Dallenberg's company, Who Tutors. If you need a kid who needs some tutoring or you need help getting into one of these high-end schools, give them a shot. So Buy, Sell, Hold Miami, what is that? So every week, Peter and I, and you'll see it at the bottom of your screen, we throw some articles around, we keep our fingers on the pulse pretty tightly, and we discuss these. We got you for 7 minutes on each one, more or less, but for the whole show, we got you for an hour. And at the end of each topic, we're either going to buy because we agree, we're going to sell because we disagree, or we're going to hold because we don't really know. And with that, Peter, what do you think about this whole Trump Library thing? NDC's Trump Library land giveaway is totally great for students.
You want to talk about the Grinch coming out right before Christmas? Anybody who's seen the Grinch, it's obviously the Yang to Santa Claus. Wow, what a travesty. The only thing I'm happy about is the judge who made the ruling, and I'm sure you're going to get into the details. She's elected and she's up for re-election very soon.
Yeah, coming up. So Miami-Dade College's MAGA saga continues, and if you're playing the home game, I'll start from the beginning really quick. Quick recap if you're just joining us for the first time. On September 23rd, there was a meeting from the Miami-Dade College Board of Trustees, and they voted to convey the site, 2.6-acre site, adjacent to the bay in downtown, right next to Miami-Dade College's Wolfson campus, which is home, by the way, to about 27,000 Miami-Dade College students. They decided to convey that land to the Trump Library Foundation for the future site of that presidential library. Now, how much is the college getting for this? They're getting a big fat goose egg. Big fat goose egg. $0 rupees. And our local octogenarian activist, a fellow by the name of Marvin Dunn, he's FIU, professor emeritus, professor of history. He's been around for decades. I mean, he's 85, but he's really got a bone to pick with these guys. And so he sues the college, and a Judge Mabel Ruiz, originally pauses the transfer of the Miami-Dade College site for the Trump Library Foundation in October, arguing that the deal, if it could be called that, violated Florida's sunshine laws, which require a reasonable amount of public notice. So in an epic case of CYA, that's cover your ass if you didn't know. So in an epic example of this, the board comes back and says, all right, we're going to do 1,000% compliance. We're going to re-vote on this, and we're going to give you ample notice. So they re-vote on December 2nd. What do they decide to re-vote? They decide to re-vote on Hialeah's crosstown campus out in, well, Hialeah, like 10 miles away. Yeah.
Naturally.
So 8 a.m. on like a Tuesday, and they expect nobody to show up. Lo and behold, like over 100 people show up. Some people are for it. Most of the people are against it. And after hours of people going up and talking about it, the board, surprise, surprise, unanimously votes to convey the land to the Trump Presidential Library Foundation. Oh, right.
Shocking.
And so I just, before we talk about it, I want to read an op-ed that was written by Louis Wolfson, who's the grandson of Mitchell Wolfson, one of the founders of Miami-Dade College. And because he's talking about the lost value here. And this is something you've talked about a lot, Peter, of how, these Ivy League schools have their endowments. Harvard's got billions, Yale's got billions. Well, Miami-Dade College, far cry away from an endowment like Harvard, but they have a multi-$100 million piece of dirt here. And so he did the math. Consider the property's value in practical terms. If NDC had sold the land at a very conservative valuation of $67 million, it could award over 23,000 scholarships to students for 1 year at the current tuition cost of $2,838. If instead the $67 million were invested as an endowed fund, a 5% distribution per year would support at least 1,100 annual scholarships at the current tuition cost every year in perpetuity, and this number would grow over time. And again, folks, ideologies aside, left, right, up, down, this is a bad deal. Bad deal.
It's a bad deal, and it's going to get worse. The only saving grace, and I know, Daniel, you might not necessarily agree with this, because we have a brand new mayor who is a Democrat. It is a woman. She's known as La Gringa. Because she doesn't have a lot of power, the way the city of Miami structure is set up, and this property happens to be located right in greater downtown Miami, right there at roughly 6th Street in Biscayne Boulevard, immediately south of the Freedom Tower. The only thing is planning and zoning and the whole process through. Just because you own the dirt doesn't mean you can necessarily go forward and do everything. Now, you might have the right to do it, but doesn't mean they can't drag you through and slow walk the whole process.
There was something that I saw. They need to pass a milestone. I don't know if it was a groundbreaking. They have 5 years to do so once they get the land. Was I reading that correctly?
You read that correctly. There was some sort of language in there, but typically it's all developers have to do is they just move some dirt. They bring in some earth moving equipment. They do some stuff. They do the minimal in order to qualify. Kind of like back in the day with Bob Graham, the senator, the Graham family. They used to keep a bunch of cows and cattle out on some land out there at the Big Bend. The Big Bend off of the Palmetto up in Miami Lakes. So because it was that one day or a year when the state would fly over a plane and take photographs to decide who got agricultural tax breaks and who had to pay commercial value. So that's what they used to do.
They just throw a cow out there?
Yeah. It was a certain percentage of cows versus dirt or land, and therefore they would qualify under agricultural land property taxes rather than much more expensive development rights or residential or commercial, whatever the case may be. So what I'm telling you here is, it's pretty minimal to move some dirt. It's pretty minimal to maintain a permit. It's pretty minimal to sort of reach that level. The question is, what's going to go happen when you go through the planning and zoning, given the fact we've had this abrupt change in the local political environment, which for 30 years was going one way, and now we suddenly, we pivoted, and now we're kind of going the other way. So that might be the only way to kind of jam this thing up. And who knows, maybe the market goes to shit. And if it goes to shit, maybe that delays things where it doesn't make sense to put a shovel in the ground and put up what could be 2,500 units with no parking whatsoever, with a sellout value of about $5.3 billion. And Miami-Dade County got zero for that.
Wow. So you're clearly a fan of this.
Listen, I'm a fan of Miami. I love drama. I loved our previous city commissioner base.
Yeah, what the hell are we going to talk about for the next few years?
I absolutely love all that. But what this is robbery. This is complete outright robbery. You're robbing from the community in that Miami-Dade College. And I don't know if old man Wolfson talked about it in his editorial, but what the college did is it was a feeder program. People who might have just arrived here. Keep in mind, Miami-Dade County, the population is more than 50% foreign born. People come here, they're searching for the American dream. Maybe they don't speak the language. Maybe you're somebody who's in your career and AI is changing the world and you need to get re-educated. You can't drop $100,000 to go to the University of Miami. Daniel, what'd you say? It's $3,000 a year to go to Miami-Dade College?
Roughly $2,838.
Okay, so that's an alternative. That's doable. You can learn the language. You can learn a skill. The campuses are scattered all throughout Miami-Dade County.
57,000 registered students in the county. It's one of the biggest community college, junior college programs in the country.
I mean, it's a fantastic program. Plus, everybody who is local who goes and they teach over there, they share some of the wisdom, some of the knowledge. It was
Right.
really it kind of bridges the community between those newly arrived trying to learn the language, English or whatever language you're trying to learn, as well as upgrade your skill set. So, I mean, this is just a travesty in order to put up a library. And it's not going to just be a library. There's going to be towers above it. It'll probably be a library on the bottom, carve out a little bit of space for a library, and the rest of it is all going to be towers or hotels or whatever the case may be. So it's a cash grab, and once again, the people of Miami are getting stiffed by it.
I didn't get to the epilogue. So where I left off was they had this second vote, but that injunction had, and I'm not a lawyer, so I don't know what the processes and procedures are. I'm just getting this from the internet. But with that injunction, there was a trial date set for August of next year. Now, the state filed a challenge to that injunction, and yesterday, the very same judge, Honorable Mabel Ruiz, who allowed that injunction, approved the injunction. Again, I don't know the vocabulary. She came back and said, "Well, I don't have a leg to stand on because now that they revoted, they're not violating the sunshine laws. So, full steam ahead, guys." And Marvin Dunn, he's very active on social media for an 85-year-old man, and I want to have him on the show. Doc, if you're out there, please write back to me. I'm all in his inbox. But he says he wants to go to the Supreme Court.
He should. I mean, listen,
think
he should. 100%. And I'd encourage everybody. And I'm apolitical. I'm an NPA registered NPA, been it from the beginning. I would just encourage everybody. Our judges locally are elected, so keep that in mind next time you go to the ballot. Keep in mind the judge. And I'm not saying what the judge's ruling is right or wrong, but at some point we are seeing basically what's going on right now in the United States with judges and listening to orders and not listening to orders. So you can't tell me it's pure and simple and stick to the letter of law, because that is the last thing we are doing right now is sticking to the letter of law. There's got to be a way to jam it up. There's got to be a way to interfere. And it's not political, but it's about taking away from a foundation, a cornerstone of what is Miami-Dade County. This melting pot, this search for the American dream, and easy, not an easy, but something you can afford potentially in order to upgrade not only yourself but the overall community. And it just kind of piss on that. And now what's going to happen when Miami-Dade College needs more funding? You know what they're going to have to do? They're going to have to go to Tallahassee. They are basically being stripped away of any kind of backstop, any kind of rainy day fund that they would have had. And that's what Dr. Padron, the one who kind of put all this forward, old man Padron, when he put this forward,
that's
what
guy.
he was thinking. Yeah, he was thinking about this. That's what this was all about. So anybody who's seen Miami-Dade College and seen how they've sort of evolved and now to suddenly get this stripped away, almost just taken. And it's not even eminent domain, Daniel. When you do eminent domain, what happens on an eminent domain side is that the state or the government that's
they give you fair market value.
They pay you. They're not getting anything. It's goodwill. Oh, this is great. We appreciate that. Maybe they'll hang out a flag outside. Oh, thanks to Miami-Dade College for the dirt.
Yeah. So wait, you're in fact a sell on this then.
Yeah. I am a sell. I am a
pound the table, flip the table, buy, sell.
Throw that goddamn table through the window. Sell on this.
All right, moving along. Jingle bells, junk fees all the way. Peter, what's this all about?
All right, so we have a situation going on in South Florida, and a lot of this is going on nationwide. But basically, the takeaway of it is when anybody does commercial, let's say leasing, when you go and you lease a space, what's going to happen is you're going to pay the rent, and then you're going to have to pay for taxes, maintenance, and what is the other one? Management fee. So they call it a triple net. So basically, the landlord's getting the cash for the place, and you as the tenant, you got to cover everything else. Now, juxtapose that.
You got it.
I got it on the third one. So compare that to residential. Residential, typically you go and you sign a lease. Once you sign a lease, you're going to cover your own electricity and maybe
right. You're not paying taxes. You're not paying maintenance.
No, you're paying a premium to live in there, and the landlord's got to deal with everything else. So everybody's talking about the rental market right now. They're talking about what's going on, how expensive it is. Some people are opting to leave South Florida because it's simply the cost. So we were doing some research and we visited a number of projects of rental towers in Miami. And I am here to tell you for the first time ever in my career, I am seeing residential rentals going towards a triple net concept it related to rent. And what do I
Wait,
mean
what do
by
you
that?
mean? So what they're paying? They're paying taxes?
You're not paying taxes, and it's not officially triple net. But what it is it's a series of junk fees that are layered on top of your rent. That's adding a good 10 to 15% to whatever the rent is. You know how you kind of go and maybe you're buying a ticket for an event. You want to go to a sporting event or a concert or everything, and you get the price, and you're like, dude, this is a good deal. It's a little bit more than I want to spend, but it's a good deal. And then you get right at the end, and they're like, oh shit, they put a
Right,
10,
the
50%.
Ticketmaster scam.
The Ticketmaster scam. So that's what's going on right now in the rental market. In the course of doing our investigation, we found, Daniel, now listen to this. We found some rental towers besides your base rate of rent, which is about $5 a square foot per month, which is exorbitant. Besides that, you got to pay for parking. And interesting enough, it's cheaper to have your car valeted than the self park. And what does that tell you? That tells you the valet service sucks. Nobody wants it, and they don't have enough self parking
Well,
spots.
because they can double park the cars. They park them one behind the other, right?
Yep. And if anybody's ever been in a complex like the Icon Brickell, it's got 3 towers, about 1,800 units. You call that valet to go get your spot. Yeah, a lot of people going to work at the same time, and therefore the whole thing gets backed up. You're riding on the elevator, it takes forever. Blah 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 blah. But Daniel, some of the nickel and diming that's going on in some of these associations, some of these rental buildings. Get this. Do you ever order anything from Uber Eats, or do you ever get anything from Amazon?
Too much.
Too much. Okay. Well, if you did, you would have to pay $50 a month for a rental fee within the Amazon
No.
room of a rental tower. $50 a month. Otherwise, they will
Oh,
not
I've
accept your
seen these.
vendors.
They're like little lockers, right?
But it's one general room. It's the room that would have been there anyways. So they're charging $50 a month. Now you can make the case, well, that's practical. Too many people are getting stuff. But at the same point, if you're charging a premium on the rent,
Yeah, yeah,
that ought to
no,
be
no, no, no.
included.
But the landlord, this is benefiting the landlord because they would have to pay someone to do this otherwise.